Hi everyone, I'm honored to be here with you today, and I hope you got the moment to reflect on what does your voice mean to you. And keep this thought in mind, we are going to come back to it later. So, identifying what my voice means to me has been a long journey. It wasn't something I just woke up one day and had, as many assume. It was shaped by my experiences and my background. I come from Moldova, maybe some of you know about it, a small country in Eastern Europe, which carries the weight on conflicts in history much bigger than it is. But my voice hasn't been shaped by history. I grew up with silence. So, yeah, silence. In Moldova, as children, we were taught to keep quiet, respect authority, always be polite to adults, even if we don't agree with them, don't stand out too much. This mentality could be obviously seen in schools. On papers, everything was democratic and fair, but in reality, speaking up would lead to a consequence. I remember one moment, which still shapes my activism journey. When I was 13, I first confronted a teacher because of bullying other students. And I asked her, "Why doesn't my opinion matter to you?" She looked at me and said, "Because the world doesn't care about the opinion of a 13-year-old girl." Oh, harsh. But yet, I had something to come back and tell her, well, the 13-year-old girl cares about the world. This moment stayed with me for a while, and I realized my frustration isn't just about me. It's about so many peers from my community. We all agreed that the problem wasn't education, it was the environment. So I decided, I'm going to speak up, not just for me, but for children, for their future, for our future. So I started small, by joining volunteering programs and research projects to address the violence against children. But it wasn't enough. I wanted people in power to hear us, to understand what are the consequences of their actions. And then the opportunity finally came. At the National Congress for Youth, I was handed a microphone. Finally, I thought, this is it. This is the moment I'm going to stop the chain of violence. I spoke up about how teachers were trying to encourage older students to physically intimidate younger students in my school. I spoke about it even knowing the consequences I will face the next day in the school. For me, what mattered was the change. But also what mattered were children in the audience. I saw them nodding. They knew exactly what I was talking about. And it seemed like all of these important people did too. But then, despite all of the agreement in the audience, nothing changed. All the authorities who promised to act didn't follow through. Weeks, months went by. All of the emails were ignored, calls were brushed off. At first I was crushed. Does it mean my voice isn't enough to contribute to a change? But then I realized a very vital point in my journey. It's not about high-level events and important people and tons of impact. It's about what drives you first and what are your next actions. So I started everything from scratch. I had one goal, to stop violence against children. And whenever a child in my community shared a solution or a problem, I wrote it down in one document. And many peers from my society joined me too. We shared one spark. So then, months went by, and we were invited to the Youth Day event, and suddenly the Minister of Education appeared. This moment, we were ready. Me and my friends were there. When Minister of Education approached people and asked them, "What are your opinions about the educational system in Moldova?" We had this document down. So when he approached us, we shared not just our voices, but the voices of all the children from our community we could contact or speak to. He was impressed. People were talking just about the good things, but we mentioned that we need change. So he asked us to organize an event, and we did. So one summer morning, 12 students all across Moldova traveled to just deliver the voices of young people from their communities. We started small, but it created a big impact. We became the first advisory group to the Minister of Education on several projects. Together, with all of our effort, we stopped a subject promoting Russian culture for Ukrainian refugees. We advocated for sex education in the schools, and we insisted on anti-bully campaigns in our community. This is the moment when I realized, when we act and we speak up, we can actually deliver a change. And just a year later, I was able to co-create a UN report, Children's Vision for Human Rights, including all of these voices and the voices of 5,000 children worldwide. So now I'm come back to the question, what does voice mean to you? For me, voice is about connection. It's about taking all of your struggles, ideas, and sharing them with others. Because when we speak up, we create the space for others to do the same. For me, speaking up is also about action. It's not just about delivering this voice, it's about what you do next. For adults in this room, don't underestimate young children. I know our ideas might be bold and naive at times, but they matter. And your voices matter too. Intergenerational dialogue is the key to success. We are here to work with you, not against you. For young people in the room, I know speaking up takes courage. It's not easy, but it can start small. It can grow and connect you with other people, and together you can deliver a change. And now, a reminder to all of us. Speaking up isn't easy. It is in fact scary. I was so stressed before this event. But it takes courage, and together we can create a better world. Now, I'll come back to the question, but before that, I want to mention a phrase that recently motivated me a lot to continue my activism by one of my fellow activists. He told me, "May we meet again in the world we wish to see." A very simple phrase, but in our case, let's speak up for it, let's build it together. So now, I'll come back to the question, what does your voice mean to you? And whatever your answer is, I hope it inspires you to use it. Because one voice, your voice, can make a difference. Thank you.